Hey guys, it is Kirsten with March Party of Six. It has been a long time since I've checked in with you guys. Life has been crazy. We bought our first home at the end of April, and we have literally painted almost every room in the house and have, ripped out the bathroom. Still working on that. Home renovations are not fun at all. Moving is not fun. It is definitely not on my fun list. However, super excited for having our own home, our forever home, a home that we can make into everything that we want, and our kids can grow up, and we like the area. We really, it's one of those areas that there's a lot of people. There's still a lot of people around you, but you still have your own space, and it's not the hustle and bustle of, a city or even a bigger town. It's a little more on the quiet side. Anyway, a while back in February, I talked about a podcast about my toxic family. So, funny story about this. I was approached. Actually, I wasn't approached. My mother was approached by my aunt, who somehow found my podcast. Now, keep in mind, I'm not friends with her or any of her family on my social media, but there was a friend of theirs that was on my Facebook that I'm assuming relayed my podcast to her. So basically, when I do these podcasts, I don't listen to them after the fact. I know the topics that I have. I know the topics that I discuss, but I don't go through and actually re-listen to them. But I did actually go through and re-listen to the podcast that I recorded, at that time. And just to kind of cover my tracks and see exactly what I said. Now, my aunt somehow got her hands on the podcast and was, in her words, quote unquote, devastated about the things that I had to say. Now, when I went and listened to the podcast and I listened to what I had to say, I was really impressed. I was really impressed with how I spoke and how I utilized my time, because I really felt that I hit everything fact for fact. There was no lies, there was no discrepancies, there was no real disrespect in my podcast. My podcast was pretty straightforward. It was pretty head on, and it was pretty direct. I really couldn't think of a time that I said anything that I said that I could backtrack and say, I this is what I said, and I said it in the right context, and I don't feel bad for it. So my aunt, being the dramatic person that she is, went ahead and reached out to my mother and just basically was, a basket case saying that I devastated her, and I lied, and all I did was talk about my family, and I was disrespectful, yada, yada, yada. And, I have to laugh because my mother didn't even know that I do these podcasts. I mean, I talked to my mom, but, first, I just didn't really mention just the fact that I do these podcasts and what I really talk about, because, not that she doesn't care, but she's just not really someone that listens to those types of things. So I didn't really think that it would be a big deal. But whoever went back and sent this to my aunt had to have been trolling my Facebook page, because I post a lot. I'm a very social, outgoing person. I love to have fun on social media. I love to make people laugh. I don't really like to be too serious, because I do think that, when you're on some type of social forum, if you are being serious and just a bit too much, it's just drama. And it's a lot of, comments that just are kind of unfounded, and sometimes you just don't need it. Who wants to deal with somebody that is just can't agree to disagree and be professional when they just want to argue about things that just no one's really going to come to a full agreement on. So when I did my podcast, it was a way of me venting, a way of me really getting my thoughts out. We've had a really rough couple months in our family, and just a lot of sadness, a lot of unanswered questions. And, when I talked about these topics, it just really helped me deal with the things that I was feeling and deal with, the situations at hand. Now, my aunt has never been one to admit when she's wrong or one to even apologize if she's done something to hurt somebody, because I don't think that she really thinks that she does anything wrong. I think that she really thinks that whatever she does is for a reason and it's not that serious. But, everybody that takes action or does something has to understand that there's going to be a reaction to it and there's going to be consequences, especially if it's something that is out of line or just plain out wrong. Now, with that being said, my aunt had never approached me, has never messaged me, since last April to even approach me about anything that she had a problem with or to be upset about anything. I mean, she just, basically we just stopped talking. Now, I had talked to y'all about my uncle passing away and just the trials and tribulations that we've dealt with in our family. And unfortunately, the detectives that were on his case, after I had talked to them directly and just spoke about my frustration and just my, thoughts on what happened to him and if we were, wanting to seek justice for what happened, because it in all reality, it looked like there was foul play. Every sign pointed to the fact that someone else was involved, someone else was there, and there's questions that we don't have the answers to. So when I spoke to the detective, he pretty much told me no matter what my uncle's background was as far as being incarcerated, 3/4 of his life, that if there was foul play, if there was something that happened to him that wasn't, supposed to happen, that they would get justice for him. And I really wholeheartedly believe that because, the gentleman really just sounded like, sincere. Now, fast forward, we're into April and May, and they have already closed the case. They've determined that there's not enough evidence to go off of, and that whereas other things might have happened, they don't have any evidence. They don't have any solid proof or leads to get them to be able to, build a case with this. Now, in my opinion, just talking to law enforcement, individuals and just knowing people that I know, no case is just, I guess I shouldn't say no case. There's a lot of cases that are not cut and dry. They're not simple. Everything's not right in front of you. You have to, I have to find the evidence. You have to prove it. It's a long drawn out process. Now, when we originally got the toxicology report back, it had said that there was methamphetamines in his system. However, not enough in their medical opinion to say that he died because of that. He had other internal injuries, many of which kind of came back to the fact that he very well could have been beaten to death, that the drugs that were on him could have been planted, and that, I mean, he was in really bad shape when he was found. I mean, he was pretty much dead when my uncle got to him, and that's really sad and just traumatizing for anyone to have to go through. But the fact that we still really don't know what happened to him, I mean, we're just not at ease. My uncle lives in a house, that actually was once a funeral home. Okay, and I didn't know that until recently, and that's kind of creepy, but kind of fascinating at the same time. But he has a Comcast security system on his phone, and he gets updates, and he gets any kind of information if there looks like there's, intruders, or if there's, shady activity, or anything that looks like they need to be notified. He's gotten multiple notifications saying there's an intruder in the house. Now, if I got a notification saying there's an intruder in my house, I mean, I think I'd crap my pants, but that's just me. On the phone that my uncle, has, all he sees as far as, an intruder being in the house is white lights bouncing off the walls. And, this has been a few times that this has happened. And I really firmly believe that this is my uncle's way of telling him, I'm not at peace. Like, I'm not, this isn't finished. And not to mention that most spirits return to the home that they've been at. They return to places they've been to a lot. They return to areas that they feel comfortable in, that their presence has been in. And, my uncle lived with my other uncle, and that was his home. So we really, we're really disappointed that his case has been closed and that there's no real work being done. But we also feel that the truth will come out, that something will prevail. But it's just very discouraging to know that in a couple months' time, they've already closed the case and they haven't really done their job, so to speak. Now, with that being said, my uncle, passed away, and my aunt, who refused to see him after he got out of prison, refused to have a relationship with him, refused to have any kind of real correspondence, wanted to have some kind of private viewing for us to see him before he was cremated, to say goodbye. And, my aunt and uncle, when they seen him when he, passed away, and after the fact, when they went to the hospital and, all the identification purposes, I mean, they said he looked terrible. He looked, I mean, it was pretty bad. And, no one wanted to see him like that. No one wanted to see him in that state. We all wanted to remember him how we remembered him, with a smile on his face, goofing around, just being silly. And, I found it interesting that she wanted to have some kind of private function for us, yet she wasn't willing to have a relationship with him when he was here. I'm not saying that she's wrong, because everybody handles things the way that they're going to handle things. I'm just saying that you never know what's going to happen. You never know when your last day is coming. You never know what's going to transpire. And with that being said, if you feel that you want to make things right, or you feel like you want to have some kind of relationship, you need to put the effort in. You need to let bygones be bygones, and you need to move forward. I don't know if that'll ever happen in our family. I feel that there is love, there is caring. But when you have toxic family and you have somebody that just doesn't care about others and is so self-absorbed in her own life and, others that she's close with, none of which that really involve us, you just don't understand what's going through people's heads. Now, I just recently had a birthday, and I'm the big 3-9, and my aunt and I share the same birthday. And, I knew that she wasn't going to message me, and I didn't message her. But it's just one of those things where, you see who makes effort and who is willing to move forward and who isn't. I think I can safely say that I'm content knowing that relationship is finished and the toxic lifestyles are no longer in my life. I just don't have time for it, nor will I entertain any of it. I really feel that everything happens for a reason, and life's too short to deal with people that don't respect and care for you the way that they should. So that's some food for thought. I just, like I said, it's been a couple months, but we're really, our family's coming together. We're healing, and we just know that everything happens for a reason, and we might not understand those reasons now. We might not ever understand those reasons, but they happen. There's a bigger plan for us elsewhere, and, we just have to have the faith and do our best to enjoy the moments that we have in front of us. That being said, I'm going to sign off tonight. I'm so thankful that you guys have been patient and have waited for me to come back. It's just been a hectic couple months, but I'm here to unwind and talk about things and have people relate, and I hope that this has found somebody and somebody can understand if someone's going through a similar situation, or if anyone is dealing with grief or death in their family, or having any family issues. So you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.